spray everywhere, visibility near zero. This may be my final entry. Oh God! Hello everybody, and welcome to a very early morning in beautiful Miami, Florida. I'm currently here on a holiday with my family, and today's video is something of a surprise to, I think, everybody, and more than anyone, myself. Whenever I go anywhere interesting, I always put a posting out saying that if anybody's in the area that I'm going to, if they want to just have a chat, have a drink or whatever, show me their car, please get in touch, because I love seeing different car cultures and people from around the world. It's always exciting, always nice to do, and I love interacting with people directly as well. It's very nice, and the social side of cars and of YouTube is what I really, really enjoy. Now, when I said that I was going to be coming out to Florida, a few different people said that I should get in touch with Tavarish. Now, Tavarish is a very big YouTuber out here, like 1.3 million subs or something like that. He's got a very interesting collection of cars, and whilst I would love to do something with him, there are a few issues. Now, I know that a lot of non-YouTube people think that all of us car YouTubers are one just big dysfunctional family. We're constantly talking with each other and swapping ideas and things like that. It's just not the case. I mean, I would love to be able to say that only last week I was at a bar mitzvah with Shmi, but that's just not the case. And that's not the case for a few reasons. I mean, number one, some of us do talk with each other. There are a few guys that I talk with. I was talking with Hubnut this morning. I talked with Steph ABTV, obviously Laurie and the team at Laurie's Mechanical Marvels, all those guys. But I know what YouTube does to people's schedules. My own schedule, it's now late February, and I am booked solid until well into April now. So it's 2 months ahead. So if somebody came to me and said, oh, hello, I'm in your area, can I come and stop by? The chances are kind of slim. And that's not to say don't do it, but it's just not very practical. So I just thought, you know what, look, the guy's going to be super, super busy. I'd be amazed if he even responded to me. But you know what the hell? I mean, I'll ask him, but the thing is, I'm in Florida, he's in Florida, and Florida is a big place. So it'd be like going to England and then being in Cornwall and then finding out, oh yeah, you can come and see the guy, but they're in Scotland. So I messaged him anyway, just to do it. And he came back to me very, very quickly. And basically sort of opened arms and welcomed me to come and visit him, which I'm about to do. But, and this is a big but, I'm going to go and see Tavarish, and I feel very nervous. I'm genuinely really nervous about this, because I feel like I'm some sort of ambassador for the small British YouTube crowd, and I want to do things right. I have to get this done right. And so we've rented for the week of Ford Flex, and the family are going to need that while I'm away, because this is going to be a 2-day trip, because he is hundreds of miles away from where I am now. And so I thought, you know what, if I'm going to turn up, I want to turn up in something that's worthy. I want to put the effort in to reward the guy for his time, to thank him for his time, and I think he will appreciate what I have done. What have I done? Well, I've gone on Turo, which is a car rental or car sharing app here in the USA. I think we have it in the UK now as well. And on there, people just share their cars. They have whatever. And I was tempted to maybe just find the cheapest thing I possibly could, but unfortunately a lot of those come with a random mileage limit, which wouldn't have worked. So I went instead with the most interesting thing that I could afford. And I've definitely created some problems for myself. But overcoming problems is kind of Tavarish's thing, so I hope he's going to like what I bring, and I hope things go really, really well. So, fingers crossed. I'm now going to go off and get the rental car, and of course, I'm going to show you guys what it is. Oh, I hope this doesn't go badly wrong, because I think it might. So, what faithful steed have I chosen for the next 36 hours and 500 miles of my life? This, the Polaris Slingshot. Now, for those of you in the UK who don't know what this is, Polaris are a company based in Alabama that are manufacturers mostly of sort of more rural vehicles, ATVs, quad bikes, that kind of thing. But they also make this, the Slingshot, a three-wheeler. It looks like a kind of Morgan that's come from space. As you might expect, there's a lot of cheap plastic and bits on there, but you know what? This is an absolutely outlandish, crazy car. They are reasonably popular here, and I know that they tried to bring them to the UK a little while ago, but I don't think they quite succeeded, and I don't really know why. These are cheap. They start at $20,000 here, so you're talking at least half the price, if not less than that of a Morgan three-wheeler. they're actually kind of comfy, although I've only done about 100 yards in this one from there to here. And this is just the perfect thing, I think, for going up to visit another crazy YouTuber in. Under here you have a 2.4 litre JayEmm engine, the same that powered the Pontiac Solstice. Produces about 170 odd horsepower, and this thing weighs around about 800 kilos, so it should be pretty nippy. 5-speed manual gearbox in this one. You can get an automatic, but of course, why would I want an auto? It even has things like Bluetooth and stuff like that, so I'm going to get that all set up. I'm going to rig some cameras up as well in a little bit and record my thoughts on driving this rather incredible machine. And I now have another 240 miles to go, which are going to be interesting, and they may get a lot more interesting because tomorrow, for my journey back, there is supposed to be a thunderstorm. And as you might notice, this car has many things, but one thing it does not have is a roof, not even a temporary one. So, hashtag pray for JayEmm. So what can I say about driving the Slingshot? Well, on a day like today, it's absolutely glorious. Easy to adjust this wing mirror. Less said about that one, the better, I suppose. But it's very easy. There's no power steering, or at least I'm pretty sure there's no power steering. So at low speed, it is a little bit heavy, but not really an issue. Nowhere near as bad as a lot of other cars I've driven, Lotus XEs, that sort of thing. You can turn right on a red here. And it's just a joyous, joyous way to get around. Oh, I think I was in third already and went down into second. Gearbox actually very nice to use, really easy. That engine's pretty smooth, not too loud at these low speeds, and I'm quite grateful for that, really, because I really hope it's a fairly pleasant thing to cruise in. I will be driving. Oh, brake failure, steering warning. Oh god. Maybe it is meant to have power steering and that's just not working. Ah, that'd be interesting. Yeah, well, the brake warning light is out now. Oh, and the steering's suddenly lighter, so I take it that perhaps it is meant to have power steering. It just wasn't working. Yeah, that's much different. Evidently build quality, not a Polaris strength. The most obvious car I can compare this to is a Morgan three-wheeler. I'm afraid, for safety's sake, at these speeds, I'm only doing about 40 miles an hour, I'm not even doing the speed limit, I'm going to have to put my sunglasses on because you get a lot of things thrown at you. When I was out in the KTM on track the other day, granted, very different experience, you get hit by a lot of different stuff. I've connected my phone to the Bluetooth already, and really it's just like being on a motorbike, I guess. Wind in the hair, quite a lot of wind. There's a little low screen on this one. It's not too talky, although I'm doing like 1600 RPM, which is good because this is quite quiet, quite nice to cruise in. My phone, it's got speakers in here as well, so a lot more tech than you get from the Morgan. It'll be very nice. It means it's going to be a bit easier. I originally was planning to wear headphones, which I might still switch to at my sort of first rest stop. I'm going to do a couple of hours, see how I do, and then yeah, we'll see how we get on. Brakes nice and easy to use. Yeah, the steering is super light. When you're on the move, even if you didn't actually have power steering, it's actually pretty easy anyway. It's got more or less a full tank of fuel in there, full tank of gas, so we'll see how far that gets me. Don't know how big the tank is, really don't, but I expect pushing along something this light, it really shouldn't be that bad. I mean, even with me and all my camera kit in here, this thing's sub a ton, so big long journeys is not what this thing is built for. However, visibility, that over there is not too great, but that's not really a problem when you're driving on this side of the road and you're very connected to the road. Basically, I could scrape my hand off if I wanted to down there, but I don't want to today. And it is a wild, crazy looking thing, which I love, but also very easy to drive. Nowhere near as visceral or as bonkers nuts as the Morgan, but it's literally half the price. I think for a lot of people, it's going to be the look of it. And the Morgan is not the easiest car to drive. Very coarse, very unrefined, very harsh. Bags of fun. I mean, so much character, that car. It's absolutely ludicrous. But this thing's definitely the easier car to live with. So that's my acclimatization run. Let's hit the road. Let's go find ourselves a YouTuber. have made it. I am in Tavarish's lair, I suppose you could call it. People will recognise a lot of projects around here. There's a lovely and very reasonably priced Bentley back here. A slightly crispy, I'd say sort of medium, well-done Ferrari 355. An Audi R8 that is simply a guest. One of the latest projects, which is a sort of heavily patinated 675 LT. But more importantly, to show you through a couple of the antiques in here, is the man himself.
How you doing?
Freddie Hernandez Tavarish.
Yes.
My first collab of the year, I think.
Well, is that a good or a bad thing? Does that say more about you or more about me?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, but it's a special moment.
Good.
It's a special moment.
Good.
So, okay, so let's have a quick look at the before we got here. So there's a little K car down in the corner. Is another guest, I believe.
Yes, so that is a Suzuki Cappuccino. Not mine, even though I'd love to own that. It's actually my neighbor's. He just needed some space to park his car. He does a lot of JayEmm imports, that sort of stuff. This is a 3-cylinder, I believe revs to like 9,000 RPM, something like that. Has a turbo, and it makes all of 62 bhp. So that's good, right? That seems like it.
I think that's the amount they're meant to make.
I know. It's weird because if you have a naturally aspirated one, it does 62, and then you have a turbocharged one that revs to the moon, it also does 62.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. So that's that. I also have a 2007 Range Rover, or Land Rover Range Rover. And so this is my dad's old car. And he gave it to me because, well, it's a Range Rover, and as I can tell, it has some issues. It's sitting a little bit dumped in the back, and has some air suspension issues because that's what Range Rovers are wont to do.
Naturally.
So this is going to be something I just fix and flip or sell or something like that. Not sure if I'm going to do any sort of build on it, but you know, the day is young. Maybe I'll just, you know, build it up anyway. But going up here, is my 2003 Mercedes-Benz SL55 AMG. This was the cheapest one in the country at $8,900 when I bought it. I'm sure that there are cheaper cars now, but when I bought it, this was the bottom of the barrel. Now, this has a 5.4 liter supercharged V8. It makes, right now, it makes around 550 horsepower and a little more than that in torque. And it is a rocket ship, and I am about to do the first manual conversion on this car. So that is, well, it's been in the process for about 2 years, but now I am super, super excited to do it because now I actually got the parts yesterday, so I'm doing all the mechanical work, all the electronic work, all that stuff to make this a really, really nice cruiser. Down here is sort of my pride and joy. This was the first car that I bought when I lived back with my parents in New Jersey like 5 years ago. I bought this as just like a nice car for myself. I never had a nice car. I ended up buying this for like $7,000. This is a 1999 Mitsubishi 3000 GT VR4. It has a 6-cylinder, twin turbo, all-wheel drive, all-wheel steering. It is a 6-speed manual transmission. It is just an amazing, amazing car. They only made 287 of these for the North American market, and it's one of my favorite shapes of all time. I mean, I love the big, like, big bass grill here. I love the stupid wing out back, which is stock. They did come factory like this. I love the color. It's called Caracas Red. And I ended up buying this back because I had to sell it to put a down payment on my house here in Florida, and then I actually bought this back last year, and now I'm not selling it, and now it actually runs and drives nicely, and I have it underneath this car cover so it doesn't get dusty. But over here is my favorite part of just saying this, the Lamborghini section of my garage. That's
I want to say that one day.
Yeah,
everyone wants to say that one day.
Yes, I can say this, and hopefully the cops don't come and tell me I can't say it anymore. But this is my 2008 Lamborghini Gallardo Spider. It has a twin turbo setup that was completely custom done by me and a friend. His name is Tony, and we just basically rebuilt this entire car. It used to have fire damage, and I got this, and this basically took my channel to the stratosphere. I mean, in my mind, this blew up my channel when I first got it because I think it was like the first of its kind, being a supercar rebuild. And I made a ton of mistakes, but I love having this around, and driving it is not the easiest thing in the world because it has a very, very grabby clutch, but it is awesome to look at, and I do want to do more to it. But this up here is, I don't know if we can get a little bit off here. Well, you can't really see much. But this is my 2003 Lamborghini Murcielago, and yes, that is the correct way to say it. This was the screen-used car in the last Fast and the Furious movie, Fate of the Furious, and I got this from essentially the movie studio, and I had to rebuild everything. This is complete restoration from all the paint had to be sanded off by hand. It was done by a local shop called Color Recon, and then we put Clarity Coat on it, which is a peelable paint protection film that makes it as hard as regular paint, and you can sand it and you can buff it, and it just looks amazing. So we just had this car at SEMA last year, and that's just, if you guys don't know what SEMA is, that's just this big car show for car people. And this is actually going to be at the Peterson Automotive Museum for one of their hypercar exhibits later this year, actually. So it's going to be somewhere around like June-ish. Nice. So this is going to be a photo op. So if you want to see what the car actually looks like, if you're in the LA area, feel free. You can actually see this car. And coming around here, this is my 1995 Toyota Supra SE. It started life as a naturally aspirated car, and now it is a not naturally aspirated car. It has a big turbo on it. It should make a lot of power. I haven't had it tuned yet, but me and my friend Jared, we got to working on this car, and over 4 days we turned it into a 6-speed manual, single turbo. We changed the cylinder head. We put this big intercooler. We did all the cooling system. We basically overhauled this car in about 4 days, and the car should make a ton of power and a ton of noise. It just needs a little bit of love right now, so it has to go to the body shop, has to get some tune. And then afterwards, I'm probably going to give away this car, maybe in like a merch sale or something, but I definitely want this to go to like a subscriber or, you know, a viewer or something like that. That would be really, really cool. This is a new acquisition, and we could talk about this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So when this comes out, I will be doing a new series with a few friends of mine, Tyler Hoover and Ed Bolian from VinWiki. And we are doing a cheap car challenge, cheap exotic car challenge. And this is my entrant, and this is a Aston Martin V12 Vantage. So I've always loved these, and this is a 2015 Carbon Black Edition. Has a 7-speed single clutch. I believe it's a Sport Shift or Speed Shift 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it runs very, very nicely. Has a little bit of mileage on it, but nothing too bad. And I just had it cleaned, and hopefully for the series, it stays as clean as it is here. But something tells me it's not going to be. And that is actually Tyler Hoover's entry into this. He bought a Ferrari 360. I'm not going to talk too much about his car because I actually don't know much about it at this point. But over there, that is, it's my car, but whoops, geez, that's my car, but it wasn't my car, and well, I mean, it wasn't my car for most of its life because this has 1 million miles on it. So this was Matt Farah's 1 million mile Lexus. And Matt just gave it to me because we had an idea that I would put a turbo system on it, and then we'd put it on a dyno or a rolling road, and see how much power it made before it blew up. And when I said that, all my viewers told me that I was nuts, and then they would not support this decision because this car is a piece of history, and I sort of understand why they think that. So we're going to turn this into a restoration, and I'm going to end up giving this to the Peterson, and they're going to see if they can go for another 1 million miles or maybe another 2 million miles. But I want this car to be 100% mechanically sorted, and maybe even...
And how original is this car?
So the engine is original. I'm pretty sure it's been repainted at some point because the paint is just like literally peeling off. But other than that, it's there's a lot of everything in the car works. So you know, AC and power steering and all of the power functions of everything work because of course the Lexus is going to run forever. So what's really crazy is that if you look at the odometer, it just says 999 because there's no 7th digit. So I guess they didn't expect these cars to go this long, but it's a really cool story, and all these cars have a very cool story. That's why I get them, and I like to add to the story, and you know, it doesn't matter if it's like a $300 car or a $300,000 car. I just love cars with like a weird history. But have you talked to people about this?
I haven't really, and I always want to say something for the regular viewers of my channel, that this McLaren was absolutely like this when I got here. I have not touched this car.
You came in here with the hammer, and then you just said, this is what all McLarens should look like, and I just started crying, and I let you do it. But no, this is this is my 2016 McLaren 675 LT. LT is long tail, and it doesn't actually have a long tail. Actually, this should be the ST,
yeah,
because the tail got smashed in pretty good. So this has been in sort of a, let's just call it a shunt, like right here. Got ran off the road, and then it went backwards into a pole, and the pole just kind of lived here for a little bit. And that moved everything in the engine bay that way, and I'm going to be rebuilding it and making it sort of my own. So when I rebuild cars, I do modifications to them. I do anything that I've always wanted to do these cars. You know, it just gives me an excuse, because if I had bought like a good one, then I would be really scared of breaking it. But since it's already broken, I guess I can do anything I want.
And I would point out that without people like this man here, this car would almost certainly have wound up being probably either broken or simply sent to a crusher, or just languished at the back of a junkyard for the rest of its life, which is probably the same for a few cars in here. So
yeah. So this is also, like, this car was in various yards for the better part of 4 years, and everybody that bought it, this has been bought and sold 5 times, and everybody that bought it thought that they could be the person that rebuilds it, because hey, it only needs a rear bumper and needs a spoiler, and that's okay. And then when they get into the nitty gritty of it and say, oh, we need like a new frame, and we need to do welding here, and maybe the engine is broken or something, that gets really expensive. So I believe like the previous owner said that he was a shop owner, and he said that he gave his customer the quote of like $300,000 to fix this thing. So you can buy one of these for $200. Like
he basically wanted to build it from scratch.
Yeah, exactly. You just build it from scratch. So that's the sort of money that this car commands, and they only made 500 in the world, which is nuts. But I've always loved these cars. I don't know about you. Have you done anything on McLarens? Are you?
No.
You know about these cars at all?
Is it fast?
I think probably. I mean, you know.
Oh, this one doesn't look very fast.
No, it's not.
But it looks like it was fast at one point in its past.
We can push it, and we can see how fast it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, guys, that gives you a kind of whistle-stop tour. Note also that was a one-take job. It's wonderful working with a professional.
Oh, do not call me that.
And there's something kind of a bit nicer as well to sort of say here, is that we've obviously seen a little bit of everything that's kind of been going on here, and we've had a little talk through. But actually, more importantly than that, for the last few hours, we have just been shooting the breeze. So I want to say a really big thank you to this guy over here for being incredibly welcoming and supportive, and just very friendly and sort of chill and awesome. So
yeah, anytime, man.
Yeah, he's got plenty of subscribers, but there's absolutely no reason not to add some more to that list. And all of the cars that we've just talked about we'll put links to relevant videos in the description down below.
Also, if you're not subscribed to him, I know from doing YouTube that like half of you aren't subscribed. Even like on any given video, half of the people watching
That's true.
are
That's
not
you.
subscribed. So,
That's you.
so subscribe to this guy.
Yeah. Thanks, Freddie.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate it.
There we go. There.
Well, my luck had to run it eventually, didn't it? I still got 140 miles to go. The heavens opened. Well, they took a break for a minute, but seems like they're back. Yep, it's my own fault. My own fault entirely. Choosing this car. But the Polaris has certainly been an event, if nothing else. A lot of curious glances from people, generally confused about what the hell I'm doing. To be fair, I can understand exactly what they're thinking. Oh no! Oh, I thought it was easing off. when it's not actually that cold, but the problem is when you're doing 70 mile an hour, I am just being blasted, and I had to pull off because I basically could not see. This car is also useless in the wet, no traction whatsoever, but it is fun. And because it's cheap enough, because it's so cheap, if I did live over here, I think I would have one, because the Morgan is so expensive. You got to be pretty committed to the idea, but this thing's cheap enough that, yeah, I would have it and then enjoy it on the days when you can enjoy it. It's not really today, but I got to get it back, so wish me luck. Come to Florida, they said. The weather's lovely. Get away from that horrible rainy Britain, they said. This is dangerous. This is really dangerous. Can't stop because I'll probably get hit. Visibility near zero. This may be my final entry. Oh God! Smacking my poor sunburned face. Ow! In typical Florida fashion, the rain soon cleared and I made it home basically dry, with nobody believing I'd even got wet. It's unusual that I don't do a proper ending for my videos, but in honesty, this was not my normal 2 days. A big thank you to Tavarish for hosting me, to my family for allowing their chauffeur to vanish for 36 hours, and to you for watching. I'll see you for the next installment of JayEmm in Miami. 60 miles to go. Just made a quick stop because I have found a potentially fatal flaw in the Slingshot. You see, the engine is down there and the exhaust is back there, and there's probably some drive and whatnot through here, and transmission and everything. So this drinks holder down here gets roasting hot at the bottom, and I had a milkshake in it. So I had this big sip of milkshake and I got like cold, warm, cold, warm, cold, warm, and it took me a minute to figure out what was going on. But yeah, I've had a load of heated up dodgy dairy for lunch. Let's keep going. We are nearly there.